And Omani-Syrian Business Forum reviews in Muscat the opportunities and facilities to enhance commercial and investment cooperation between the two countries. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq sent a written message to His Excellency Vladimir Putin, President of Russian Federation, related to bilateral relations between the two countries and means of enhancing them. The message was delivered by His Excellency Said Badr bin Hamad al-Busaidi, the Foreign Minister, when he was received by His Excellency Sergei Lavrov, the Russian Foreign Minister, at the premises of the Russian Foreign Ministry. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Dr. Shavkat Mirziyoyev of Republic of Uzbekistan on being re-elected for the new presidential term. Meanwhile, His Majesty the Sultan sent a similar cable to His Excellency President Carlos Villanova of the Democratic Republic of Sao Tome and Principe on his country's Independence Day anniversary. On behalf of His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq, His Highness Sheikh Shihab bin Tariq Al Said, Deputy Prime Minister for Defense Affairs, received His Excellency Christian Braunmeier, Ambassador of the Republic of Austria, accredited to the Sultan of Oman, to bid him farewell at the end of his tour of duty in the Sultanate of Oman. His Highness the Deputy Prime Minister for Defense Affairs thanked the Ambassador of the Republic of Austria for the efforts he made to strengthen bilateral relations between the two countries, wishing him continued success in his future missions. For his part, the ambassador praised the strong relations between the two countries and expressed his pride and appreciation for the cooperation he received during his tenure in the Sultanate of Oman. His Excellency Said Badr bin Hamad al-Busaidi, Foreign Minister, held a session of talks today with His Excellency Sergei Lavrov, Foreign Minister of the Russian Federation. This came within the framework of the Foreign Minister's visit to Russia. During the session, the two sides reviewed bilateral relations and explored area of cooperation and means of enhancing them. The two sides underscored their keenness to activate partnership opportunities in areas of transport, communications, renewable energy and converting industries, as well as encouraging tourism between the two countries. The two ministers called forth companies of the private sector to utilize the existing friendship relations, agreements and memorandum of understandings that regulate economic business and investment cooperation. On the political forefront, the two ministers exchanged views on several regional and international issues. They underscored the importance of promoting dialogue and backing all means that lead to peaceful settlements of disputes. The two ministers affirmed that this will be achieved on the basis of good neighborliness, the rule of international law and non-interference in internal affairs, as well as respecting the sovereignty of states in a manner that bolsters pillars of peace and stability in the world. The Ministry of Defense, Military and Security Bodies and the Ministry of Labour signed several joint cooperation programs for training and employment initiatives, as well as a program to support employment. These programs aim to train citizens of the workforce to provide specialized training that enhance human capabilities in various fields in the work of the military and security bodies and contribute to serving the country. The Joint Cooperation Program, a part of the initiatives and joint cooperation programs embodying the integration of efforts and effective partnership between the Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Labour to provide training opportunities coupled with employment and contribute to the process of development. His Excellency Dr. Mohammed bin Nasser Al-Zaabi, Secretary General of the Ministry of Defense, signed the Joint Cooperation Program on behalf of the Ministry of Defense, while His Excellency Dr. Mahad bin Saeed Ba'awen, Minister of Labour, signed on behalf of the Ministry of Labour. Several commanders and high-ranking officials today visited the site of the annual military exercise Al-Hazm of the Joint Command and Staff College. The visit was attended by a commander of the Sultan's Special Forces, head of the Academy of Strategic and Defense Studies, commandant of the National Defense College, and senior officers at Al-Hazm military exercise affiliated to the Joint Command and Staff College. The commanders and high-ranking officers were briefed on the progress of the exercise and its various stages. Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry held today the Omani Syrian Business Forum. The event was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Saeed Mohammed Al-Sakri, Minister of Economy. More details in the following report.
Enhancing economic relations and boosting trade exchange and investments between the Sultanate of Oman and the Syrian Arab Republic topped the aims of the Omani Syrian Business Forum, organized by Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
The purpose of the gathering mainly to build the relationship between the Omani part and the Syrian part. Of course, we create the environment. Future, once it opens up, it would create a lot of opportunities for both sides, especially the private sectors. It's mainly an exchange. It's like an old history. It's a relationship that we're trying to create that environment between the two countries and enhance the private sector. In this exchange, purely it's an exchange of networking, industries, and as well products for future.
The event explored areas of joint cooperation in several economic sectors, including food industries, exporting and importing, manufacturing clothes and cotton products, textiles, tourism, veterinary medicine, feed products, fertilizers, chemicals, and plastics industry.
We are trying to promote for us as Syria how much it is beneficial for everybody to be as a market for anyone to invest in our market. We as businessmen always seek the opportunities of profit, and we know when we talk between each other that profit is the major item or the major idea that everybody moves around it. So we as businessmen are trying now to show how much in Syria there is a potential for making profit, especially for the Omanian people who are, and investors who can invest in the Syrian atmosphere.
In addition to holding business-to-business meetings to discuss available investment opportunities in various economic sectors, business people were acquainted with the incentives offered to investors in Oman and Syria. Enhancing business partnerships between the two countries will facilitate the creation of various investments in strategic projects to achieve further economic growth. Salih Abu Khalfan Al-Rahbi, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
The Shura Council Office reviewed the response of the Minister of Housing and Urban Planning regarding the projects of the Ministry's 10th five-year development plan in Al-Dakhiliya Governorate. The office also reviewed the response of the chairman of the Oman Investment Authority on the performance of the Integrated Global Energy Group, OQ, for the fiscal year 2022. Additionally, the office reviewed the response of the Minister of Labour regarding the employment of Omanis in cultural attachés, as well as the response of the Minister of Health regarding addressing the problem of high resignation rates of medical staff. The office also reviewed the response of the Minister of Transport, Communications and Information Technology regarding the transparency of the downsizing systems for Oman Railways Company. Furthermore, the office examined the request of information presented by the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries and Water Resources regarding the work of Omani youth in agricultural, fisheries and animal sectors. The office also examined the response of the Minister of Energy and Minerals regarding the mechanism for calculating raw materials. Fitch Ratings, the international credit rating agency, has upgraded OQ's standalone credit profile SCP from B+ to BBB- and reaffirmed the long-term issuer default rating IDR at BB with a positive outlook. This represents a significant improvement as OQ is now rated at an investment grade. It attributed the new rating to OQ's ability to meet its long-term financial obligations. Fitch highlighted the exceptional achievements of OQ Group, including reducing its debt as part of the balance sheet optimization program, which demonstrated a committed approach to financial discipline. The credit rating agency shed light on the improved EBITDA, net leverage ratios, establishment of financial policy, and increased hydrocarbon production, which are amongst the significant achievements that contributed to the improved SCP. Still to come, a news bulletin. The Minister of Culture, Sports and Youth honors the winners of the club's competition for cultural creativity 2022-2023. Welcome back to the news. Now for some international news. Israeli occupation authorities evicted today a Palestinian family from the apartment in Jerusalem's Old City. Activists say the family's evictions is part of a wider trend of Israeli settlers backed by the government, encouraging on Palestinian neighbors and cementing Israeli control by seizing property in East Jerusalem. The army and police came to the house just before 5 in the morning and forced the family out. Free Jerusalem, an activist group that has tried to support the family, said that police arrested 12 people who demonstrated against the eviction today morning. Jerusalem Old City was captured by Israel along with the rest of East Jerusalem during the 1967 Middle East War and later annexed in a more unrecognized by most of the international community. The 2023 Vilnius Summit is an ongoing NATO summit taking place today and tomorrow in the capital of Lithuania. More details in the following report.
Canada.
NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg and the Lithuanian president welcomed leaders to the alliance's summit earlier today.
Northern Ireland.
Lithuanian authorities say almost 50 foreign delegations with 2,400 representatives are gathering in Vilnius, including 40 presidents or prime ministers and up to 150 other high-ranking politicians. Among the attendees is the UK Prime Minister, who commented upon his arrival to Lithuania, saying that priorities for the two-day gathering lay in strengthening the alliance and supporting Ukraine against Russian aggression. NATO's summit will begin with fresh momentum after Turkey withdrew its objection to Sweden joining the alliance, a step toward the unity that Western leaders have been eager to demonstrate in the face of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. On the other side, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Sweden's accession to NATO would have a negative impact on Russia's security, adding that Moscow would take relevant countermeasures similar to those being planned in response to Finland joining the alliance. US President Joe Biden, who also attended the summit, said the NATO Secretary General's leadership was critical at this moment.
I think it's really important at this critical moment in Ukraine, in the whole NATO issue, that you continue to lead NATO. You're trusted. No one knows the situation that we're facing better than you do. And this is a historic moment. The adding of Finland and Sweden to NATO is consequential.
Last week, NATO extended Jens Stoltenberg's contract by another year, opting to stick with an experienced leader rather than to try to agree on a successor as war rages on the alliance's doorsteps.
India is said to be the world's most populous country, according to the United Nations. The milestone raises questions about whether India can repeat the economic success that has made China central to the world's economy and a leading global power. The UN said in a statement earlier this year that by the end of April, India's population was expected to exceed 1.4 billion, which means it will match and surpass China. Another report projected that India would have 2.9 million people, more than China by mid-year. Observers say India's sheer size and its young population give it the potential to replicate China's economic trajectory, but India's economy is still far behind China's. In 1970, the two countries had nearly equal per capita incomes, but today China's GDP is over $12,500 per person compared to India's $2,256 per person. Becky and the Sultan, the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Youth held a ceremony to honor the winners of the club's competition for Cultural Creativities 2022-2023. The ceremony was presided over by Her Excellency Dr. Rahma bint Ibrahim Al-Mahrouqiya, Minister of Higher Education, Research and Innovation. The competition included 8 categories, namely traditional poetry, theatre, music, fine arts, drawing, photography, sports, commentary, smartphones, applications, and short films. It's worth mentioning that such events aim to motivate the youth to further enhance their skills and capabilities in various fields. The Ministry of Higher Education, Research and Innovation held the second workshop to review and develop training programs in vocational colleges with the participation of more than 50 participants from government and private bodies and the military sector. The workshop aims to enable vocational colleges to raise the performance of their programs to ensure the quality of vocational education and training in the Sultanate of Oman. The workshop reviewed the modern vocational training methodologies through discussions and visual shows. You're watching the Sultan of Oman television. Before tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq sends a written message to the Russian President regarding the bilateral relations between the two countries. Signed by His Majesty the Sultan, His Highness Shihab bin Tariq Al Said received the Ambassador of Austria to bid him farewell at the end of the tour of his duty. The Minister of Defense and the Minister of Labour signed several joint cooperation programs related to training and employment initiatives. And Omani Syrian Business Forum reviews in Muscat the opportunities and facilities to enhance commercial and investment cooperation between the two countries. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin from OCN Newsroom and the studios. Good night.